Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I really need to tell you this story. Everywhere I've lived, people have assumed that I was born there. I was born and raised in Wilmington, Delaware. I left when I was 17 and went away to college. I have lived all over the United States and the Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands. And everywhere I've lived, people think I'm from there. Now, I typically know no one else in the area when I moved there. At the most, I've known one other person in places that I've lived. But I go about finding my way around. I always carried a big old trucker's atlas, and I look at places and spaces that people typically who are from there don't take advantage of or look at. And I've introduced places to people who are from a place, and they're like, how did you find this? Everywhere I go. In fact, in the Virgin Islands, people swore up and down that I was faking being from the from Delaware, that I was faking it. They were like, "No, you're not. You a Yankee. You ain't no Yankee. You're from here." They even made up a story. They said that my friend Pat's mother had two children, and they were close in age, and so they sent me away to live in on the mainland, and then I came back acting like I wasn't really from there, and they were like, "You just look more like her than the other one." So it's amazing how people will fill in information when you just belong where you are. Well, there's a reason for that. My mother told me that as an African American who had been, our ancestors had been taken from Africa and brought to the Americas, that wherever I went in the world, somebody who looked like me or who had been oppressed like me had actually built it, which made me a rightful heir to whatever space I was in, and therefore I belonged. It was different when I moved to Savannah and the surrounding area. People immediately, they wanted to know, are you from here? And you went away and you came back, or you're born here, where are you from here? And someone actually said, there's a Kamya and there's a Banya and a Kamya. And sometimes the Kamyas are worse than the Bakras. In other words, there are black people who are born here and black people who come here, and sometimes the black people who come here are worse than the white people. Someone said that to my face. I had never lived in a space where I was told I didn't belong because I wasn't born here. Now, that wasn't everybody, obviously, because I stayed. And I never really moved to a place where I felt like, oh, not only do I belong here, I belong here for good. What's going on? And yet, there were people who looked like me telling me that I didn't really belong because I wasn't born here. Well, that was the craziest layer of stratification I had ever heard. And I immediately let people know, because they'd say things like, are you a local? Well, are you a native local? And I was like, are you loco? Because I don't get to be placed or told where I belong. I get to belong where I feel like I do, where I desire to. We all do. And we keep stratifying, in other words, dividing based on all these crazy little criteria so we can feel better about ourselves. We keep creating our tribes and our cliques and our unions based on you're good and you're not, and you belong and you don't. We belong. And the more we get a sense of that owning of our own self and our own space, nobody can tell you that you don't belong here. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth, which is not a truth that people of color will let out. White folks didn't say that to me. It was people who look like me. But I understand that when you've been oppressed and ostracized and marginalized, you try to create another layer of something that makes you feel better about yourself because of what's been done to you. I also understand the more folks you let into your heart and into your space, the more you grow. Manabanya, but makomya, and gonna stay ya. I love you.